Alright, look. I know I said this in my handheld collection video. Just use your phone for media. Like, what are you doing? You're gonna watch... I don't know. What's a show? You're gonna watch, The Outer Banks on a 240p display? I don't think so. It doesn't even support, like, Bluetooth headphones or anything. But after that video, I was looking into homebrew apps for the 3DS. And I found one called LimePlayer for 3DS. It plays MP4 files that you drop onto the SD card of the system, provided they're in the correct resolution, which is pretty low. After I discovered that app, I started to wonder what else I could use my 3DS for in terms of media consumption. And that rabbit hole led me to 4 separate homebrew applications that I could use to turn the 3DS into the ultimate media device. My 3DS is now a game playing, ebook reading, video watching, music listening, YouTube streaming machine. And it's all thanks to the 3DS homebrew community. Here's how I did it. Although with the amount of effort it took, you probably just want to stick to your phone. So, before we start, take these things into consideration. First, basically all of these programs require a 3DS with custom firmware installed. You can head to 3ds.guide to get that up and running. All you need is a 3DS on the latest firmware, an SD card, and an SD card reader for your PC. You'll also need a PC. Most of these also need a new 3DS to run at their best or at all. Notably the video player on YouTube. Basically anything video related. The video player requires lower resolution video for the old 3DS, and YouTube, as of this video being published, straight up doesn't work on the old 3DS. You'll also probably want a pretty big SD card, depending on how many games you have installed, how many games you want to install, and how many videos and music files and all that you want to put on there. I personally have a 128GB SD card, but if you want anything over 32 gigs, you're going to need to use GUI format to format it to FAT32s. That's what the 3DS accepts. Upgrading your storage if you already have an SD card is as easy as just dragging all the files from one SD card to the other. First off is the thing that got me into this whole mess of turning my 3DS into the ultimate media device. Video. Obviously, the 3DS isn't the most powerful thing in the world, so video files need to be pretty low resolution to be playable at watchable frame rates. The sweet spot for me being decently tolerable and still saving space on the SD card is 360p at 30fps. The developer of the 3DS video player app has commands for FFmpeg on the GVA temp post announcing the program, which I converted into a Handbrake preset to convert batches of files easier. I'll skip over that part because I know that part might be boring to some. Psych, here's the nerd that definitely isn't inspired by any other YouTuber at all. Just by the way, skip to this time if you don't care. First and foremost, download the CIA onto your system from the link in the description. Next, we need to realize what this command provided by the developer actually does. This part of the command just tells the computer what program to execute. The -i is the input file variable. This is the file that we actually want to convert. So this is just the file we drag into Handbrake. The -a codec copy just tells FFmpeg to copy the audio over to the output file with no changes whatsoever. The -v codec libx264 just tells FFmpeg to encode the video into H.264. We don't need to worry about this in Handbrake too much. As long as this setting is changed to H.264, we're all good. Next is -s 640x360 and -r30. This tells FFmpeg to encode the video at 360p at 30fps. This is really easy to change in Handbrake, just adjust the resolution and frame rate. Then, we have -preset and -profile:\v. FFmpeg has presets to change the speed of production and the quality of the final product. The preset is set to fast, and the profile is set to baseline. These settings right here are what we need to change in Handbrake. After that is just the output file, which is just down the bottom of the Handbrake window. Just make sure Handbrake is configured to only use the .mp4 file extension, as it uses .m4v by default. There's no real difference in terms of the video itself, but it just guarantees compatibility. Personally, I also burn English subtitles into the video if available, as the player doesn't natively support subtitle files. I also have Handbrake set to only use one audio track and to only include English audio, if it's available. This is purely to save space, as the player supports multiple audio tracks in one video. And we're done. Save the preset in Handbrake so you don't lose it, and now you can drag entire folders or just single video files into Handbrake. Select your preset and convert. Yeah, that's a lot of work. I'm just going to link a download in the description for you. And now that the hard part is out of the way, we can finally watch some videos on our 3DS. I've got the pilot of Gravity Falls loaded here, and it runs perfectly. Albeit at 360p, 30fps. I guess it would have been animated in under 30fps, but still 360p, are you kidding me? So, the 3DS, okay, so music. The 3DS has a built-in music player, but it doesn't work well on systems with custom firmware. So the way the app is designed is it scans every single folder on the SD card for music files, and modded systems with custom firmware have a lot of folders and files, making the time it takes for music to actually populate in the app a lot longer. If you don't have custom firmware installed, just make a folder on the SD card and drop a bunch of music files into it. Open the Nintendo 3DS Sound app, and your audio files should start to populate. If you have custom firmware, I recommend the homebrew app LimePlayer 3DS. It has a very usable GUI, and it makes it very easy to play music. Just make a folder on the root of your SD card called Music, and drop your MP3 files into there. Install the CIA from the link in the description, and you're good to go. Unfortunately, the latest version of the software doesn't actually have a CIA file, meaning you couldn't put it on the home screen. Luckily for you, I've taken the responsibility of converting the 3DSX file into a CIA file so you can install it. A download link is below. The only caveat of this method being there isn't a banner on the home screen. And also, one time I tried to install like a port of Super Mario 64, and it actually just became the MP3 file. Like, I'd open it, so I'd install the port and it didn't show up, like it didn't have the gift wrapping thing. And then I'd go to where the MP3 player is, and it became Super Mario 64. And then I opened it, and it was Super Mario 64. And I was like, oh, mate, that's not Super Mario 64. That's not what it's supposed to be, mate. That's supposed to be the MP3 player. Once it loaded, it just works. Unlike the built-in music app, it searches only one folder, so it's heaps faster. Any MP3 file works fine, and I'm pretty sure it supports other formats as well. But, like, what are you going to have, a FLAC? What do you want? What are you, an audio file? It's a 3DS. What are you doing? It's a fucking 3DS. Like, you're not gonna... oh my god, the bitrate is so good. It's a 3DS. Okay, so anyone with an old 3DS model, this isn't for you. YouTube only works on the new 3DS for now. There used to be an official YouTube app on the 3DS. Unfortunately, it was shut down in September of 2019. Now, as long as you have a new 3DS, there are two ways to watch YouTube on the system. The first one is the web browser. If you set it to use mobile sites, you can just access the YouTube website, and it works fine. You can use it from there. It all works. This doesn't need custom firmware, and it has a working recommendation system. Plus, you could log into the site if you wanted to leave likes, comments, etc. And access playlists, you know, stuff like that. If you want an app on your home screen and you have custom firmware, you can use the Third Tube Homebrew app. It doesn't have recommendations from the start, but once you are in a video, it has suggested videos in there. It feels a lot better and a lot more, just more polished than the YouTube website, in my opinion. And, you know, now you've got YouTube. This is the easiest one. So, ebooks. They're a bit different to the rest of the media types here. The ebook reader I'm using, DS Libris, is made for the original DS, not the 3DS. If you don't care about having it on your home screen, you can just drop it into a flash cart or into Twilight menu with your ebooks and you're good to go. If you want it on your home screen though, you'll need to use an NDS forwarder. First, open your 3DS and open Universal Update. If you followed the 3ds.guide website to mod your system, you should have it installed. Find NDS forwarder and install it. Take the SD card out of your system and put it into your computer. Drop all the files onto the SD card and put it back into the 3DS. Open the Homebrew launcher and open the NDS forwarder app. Select the DS Libris file on the SD card and create a forwarder. You'll need to leave that file in the exact same location, as the home screen icon just points to the NDS file. Drop your EPUB files into the folder on the 3DS SD card. I think it's called like book. Probably should have done that before we took the SD card out of the computer and back into the 3DS. I'll just like do some editing and make it go in the right place. Now you've got books on your 3DS. And yeah, that's how I turned my 3DS into the ultimate offline media device. Now that you've seen the process, you probably realize why I said to stick to your phone. Although it's pretty cool to have a bunch of media, along with games, to be with you at all times on your 3DS. Plus, it saves some storage on your phone.
Alright, so hey guys, I know it's been a bit since I've uploaded, but I've been working on some really cool projects. First up is Hades Labs. It's a series of experimental projects that are, like, don't fit with the subject of my main channel, but are really cool and I'd love you to try. You can join the Hades Labs Discord, the link is in the description and on the screen right now, and this will notify you of new projects, and it also serves as a hub for all of the other projects. I've also got a new channel, it's called hadesbutlive. I've been starting to stream again, so I'll be posting highlights from my Twitch streams on that channel. Anyway, thanks for watching.